Now, what if I told you one of the best dinosaur shows of the early 2000s wasn't Jurassic Park or related to even that, or even on the Discovery Channel? It was a forgotten 4Kids classic about kids, a secret organization that wasn't very secret, also time travel, and color-coded elemental armor. But truthfully, that was more of a season 2 thing. Not to mention, this show was voiced by the same people/studio that dubbed card games on motorcycles and the English dub of the early Pokemon anime. So yeah, if my clues are as good as my jokes so far, I'm sure you're lost. So let me just be really clear, today we're talking about Dinosaur King, which may surprise a few of you. It actually started off as a video game and not just an anime. Well, to be more specific, I actually mean an arcade machine, but it's a video game regardless. So just to reiterate, time travel, evil scientists, elemental dinosaurs, and a wild 4Kids dub script. And while you might have tossed this memory into the same pit you tossed Ultimate Muscle or Fighting Foodons, there's a reason people still ask about this show and are asking if it's coming back. So let's crack this fossil open, because under all that Saturday morning cheese of 4Kids script, there's a surprising unique dino empire that couldn't survive extinction more than once. So I'm Remy, and I just want to know if anyone's checked on Dinosaur King, and if not, let's. So where to begin? I could jump into the fun part, which is a 4Kids dub, but I'd rather start at the actual beginning. Dinosaur King, once again, didn't start off on TV. It started in Japanese arcades of all places. Sega dropped this insane hybrid of trading card games and turn-based battles. So the way this would work, you would scan your dinosaur card into the machine and you'd watch it come to life on screen. While Dinosaur King wasn't the first to do this, that honor actually goes to the World Cup Championship Football Series A, which was the pioneer of TCAG cards. For other examples of TCAGs, you have to think Mushi King, and of course, everyone's favorite other TCAG, Animal Kaiser. Who doesn't miss/love Animal Kaiser? The best darn TCAG everyone has definitely played once in their life. It's the best game. I ain't never even heard of this game before this video. Oh man, but yeah, but the side note, it is actually coming back, so that's actually pretty interesting if you're a fan of the series, as Animal Kaiser Plus is a thing currently. But yeah, I ain't never heard of this game before. Okay, back on topic. So what made this stand out so much from the rest of the crowd? Well, it's because of the elemental powers. The dinosaurs in Dinosaur King had elemental powers which helped them fight, and they were kind of aggressive with them elemental powers. If you want to hear it in another way, think Pokemon meets rock, paper, scissors at a bar, and they get a couple of drinks, and then a few months later, there's a dinosaur kid at Pokemon's house, and Pokemon doesn't want to acknowledge it. That's how you get Dinosaur King. And with that concept, it exploded in Japan. Kids loved it, cards sold out, but Sega wanted more. More eyeballs, more money, more dinosaurs. So naturally, an anime happened. And even more naturally, enter 4Kids, masters of taking cool Japanese stuff and making it slightly more confusing for a Western audience for whatever reason. They got the rights, rewrote the script, added pop culture jokes, and somehow decided to name a T-Rex Terry. This show follows Max, Rex, and Zoe, aka the D-Team. And the D-Team travels around the world trying to find dinosaur cards before the evil Alpha game does. Now, why is it led up to a bunch of preteens to stop an evil gang of international criminals? You know, like the reasons, I guess. But why does the Alpha game want to even take over the world? I mean, what else are you gonna do with supercharged elemental dinosaurs? You're not gonna open up a Whole Foods or something. You're gonna take over the world, obviously. So once again, I'm gonna make another Pokemon comparison because you kind of have to with elemental monsters. Another way of thinking of this show is like Pokemon, but with time travel and more. Wait a second. Pokemon has done time travel technically. Well, okay, wait a second. Okay, so there's no electric dinos in this. They got introduced in the other Switch game. Wait, okay, well, the difference is now Pokemon has fossils also. Oh, okay, I got it. The difference is Max has a dad, and wait, Brendan and May have dad. That's a gym leader, and Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Okay. Oh, wait, okay, I finally got it. The difference is in season 2, the dinosaurs get armor. So far, Pokemon doesn't have armor yet, right? Man, there sure are a lot of similarities there. That's weird. So what's the actual story of Dinosaur King? The show starts off by introducing us to the D-Team, Max, Zoe, and Rex, running around the globe trying to recover dinosaur cards before the evil Alpha gang gets them. Every card was a monster of the week kind of race, and these races always had every Saturday morning staple you need. Giant fight, morals for the episode, and somebody doing something wacky. Each episode had a fun theme and a fun time. The dinosaurs had elemental powers, the villains were goofy as all get out, and somehow the T-Rex named Terry was the best cast member. My guy could do no wrong. Best fire lizard that isn't Charizard. But then season 2 said, yo, what if we didn't just jump the shark? What if we yeeted that thing into orbit? The villains turned into space pirates, dinosaurs started warping through dimensions, the plot got lost in the sauce, but somehow that made it way cooler, because let's be honest here, I'm a basic guy. You give something cool, elemental, shiny armor, I'm like, yo, this is amazing, this is peak. And that was season 2 for Dinosaur King. They gave everybody like elemental armor. That was peak. That was peak for me as a kid. So what started as a grounded globe-trotting adventure became a full-blown space epic in a weird time travel, timey-wimey, that's a Doctor Who reference, kind of way. And while this was super hype to me, overall, the ratings for season 2, we'll just settle on saying they were really middling for a lot of people. Wasn't great, wasn't exceptional, but it wasn't bad also. But on the other side of that table, while Dinosaur King was fighting for airtime, the game was fighting for its life. Oh my goodness, the Dinosaur King video game was fighting tooth and nail to be relevant at all. For those who weren't aware, at this weird point in time, there was a weird fossil-related video game gold rush, because at this same time Dinosaur King hit America in 2008, it had to compete with Spectros, Nintendo's Fossil Fighter, even Zoids is sort of coming back out of its weird mechanical graveyard. This thing was being jumped by 3 different kind of dinosaurs at the same time. It's crazy.
Let him get up. Fight back! Fight back! Fight back!
So let's talk about this DS game. Dinosaur King had a full-blown RPG on the Nintendo DS. It was a turn-based battle with elemental attacks and card-based combat system. It should have been a no-brainer hit. I mean, it's Pokemon with dinosaurs. That's every 10-year-old's dream. But as it turns out, it was actually 30 to 40-year-old something dreams, because what even was that? Once again, reiterating, there were so many random dinosaur games in 2008 that involved like monsters and like elemental attacks and fossil and excavation. Like what was going on over there in Japan? What were y'all doing? What was the boom for fossils? All of a sudden, like what? Like what? Oh, this franchise had to fight Disney and Nintendo. It was dying on release over. Like what? This is David versus 2 Goliaths. This is so unfair. It's ridiculous. Oh my goodness. I feel bad for Dinosaur King. Legitimately, I do. It was a cool idea, but it didn't know the mouse was coming for its neck, and so was Nintendo. That's insane. And then they had the audacity to put it on the DS. Like the DS didn't know Fossil Fighters and Spectros was, bro. This is insane. It's crazy. It's real crazy. Anyway, okay. Just come on, man. Like I just said, it got absolutely bodied by the fossil power competition. See, around this time, Disney had dropped Spectros, the sci-fi fossil digger with real-time combat and sleek creature design. Then all of a sudden, Nintendo drops Fossil Fighters, which had legitimate excavation mechanics, solid writing, and a battle system that didn't feel like a mini-game shuffled in with a larger game like Dinosaur King kinda did. Bro, this thing got jumped on both sides, bro. I gotta stop laughing at that, but it's just like, what even was that 2008, man? Both Spectrums and Fossil Fighters carved out a niche, and Dinosaur King was like, can I have a bit of that pie? And they said no. Spectros won at the end, but it didn't really win, but it won out of the 3. But just goodness, man. So even though Dinosaur King technically was the first video game out of the 3, it just didn't have the strength to last as a DS game or as a franchise. So by the end of 2009, the anime was wrapping up, the DS game had failed, the arcade machine started to disappear, Sega quietly had walked away. But here's where things kind of get like weirdly interesting. Even after all that, the fans really never forgot about the series, obviously. I'm pretty sure there's a dedicated subreddit for Dinosaur King on Reddit, because there's always a Reddit for everything. People have loved this franchise for years, even if it isn't making new content. So what exactly did happen? Why did a franchise with anime, merch, games, and a banger opening, because I didn't really talk about this opening, but oh my gosh, that opening is a banger. 4Kids does a lot of wrong, like a lot of wrong, but man, they can sometimes just lock in with these openings, because this one is clearly one of the better bangers 4Kids had. Obviously, it's no Shaman King, it's no Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, but this is definitely up there for 4Kids opening in my opinion. Clearly, it's no one One Piece rap or Kirby right back at you, but it gets the job done regardless. So why did this franchise never come back? Well, for one, we can start with toys. As everyone knows by now, if you've been on my channel, Saturday morning cartoons are intrinsically tied with toy sales. And while this may have been a JP IP, technically, it was still being marketed to a Western audience via the 4Kids anime. And them toy sales would not have, let's be honest here, who exactly remembers a Dinosaur King toy? Because I looked it up, and honestly, they just looked like regular dinosaurs with color palette swaps. Like, they weren't anything visually interesting. There were some cool exclusive Japan only toys, but we didn't get those over here obviously because they're Japan exclusive. But the ones we did get over here were kind of lackluster, to say the least. And since this was Sega's attempt to build a multimedia beast, when the merch didn't have the staying power or the selling power as Pokemon, they slowly started to back away from the IP/franchise. And since we're on the topic, let me talk about why I think it died from my little research. Because Dinosaur King didn't just die all of a sudden like it got hit with a meteor again, it actually faded away slowly due to 4Kids bleeding money. So around 2012, 4Kids had filed for bankruptcy. And every show under their blanket, their roof, including Dinosaur King, got locked away in a vault somewhere, like the Disney vault, except people actually liked the shows in there. Even sadder, the final US broadcasting of the show aired when the company fell apart. No ad, no fanfare. It ran as little 25, 30-minute episode, and then it just kind of disappeared like 4Kids. Now across the sea, there was Sega. And Sega, seemingly, they were just kind of over it. Card and toy sales were dwindling. Well, I say dwindling, they were practically tanking. If there was a hype train for this franchise, it had been completely derailed at this point. So the thought of putting in money to continue the anime or pushing out more game wasn't worth it for them financially. And not to mention, the animation studio behind them was Sunrise, which was owned by Bandai, Sega's competitor. So that's like if Pepsi was trying to get Coca-Cola to animate their new Christmas special, even though Coca-Cola probably wouldn't animate it nowadays, they probably just type it into AI, because y'all saw the last one they did for Christmas? That was just AI. So that just wasn't gonna happen. This all dominoed into the arcade machines getting pulled from the arcades, the cards started to vanish from the stores, and the video games all got shelved and lost in limbo. That was it. Dinosaur King had just went extinct again. And it's not completely because the IP or franchise was bad, it was just because the people at the top were kinda over it, which understandable. If it wasn't turning you a profit, I sorta understand dropping it if it isn't a passion project. So yeah, it was a franchise that built to a roar, but ended with a whisper. But that's the thing that makes it fascinating, because unlike a lot of media corpses of that era, Dinosaur King still has a heartbeat. People remember it. Once again, this channel is literally because people remember cool things that we thought were cool when we were kids, or just things we thought were interesting as children. And Dinosaur King was one of those things, not just for the dinosaurs, but for the absurdity, for the Alpha Gang yelling like Power Ranger villains or the Ginyu Force, for the bizarre 4Kids energy and translation, for the banger theme song, for all the things that make Dinosaur King fun, are the reasons we remember it fondly. Because its flaws are apparent, but they don't define it. But yeah, Dinosaur King didn't survive the mass extinction of 2000s. That's fine, it is what it is. But it did give us chibi dinosaurs, the Alpha Gang, and a literal kid named Rex, Ancient. And Max's stupid hat, bro. I hate that hat so much. It's so stupid. And for that, I think it deserves more credit than it gets. The DS game was clunky but full of charm. The merch never took off because honestly, it was pretty bad. But the vision was there. And while Spectrobes and Fossil Fighters dug deeper, Dinosaur King had the heart of a T-Rex fighting another dinosaur in Italy. And yeah, that's a weird heart, but man, it was definitely there. And maybe it doesn't need a comeback. Maybe it's okay if it lives on the emulator forever. But hey, if it does come back, if Sega randomly announces a new Dinosaur King because of the 20th anniversary or something stupid like that for the Switch 2, it wouldn't be the end of the world. In fact, that might mean we finally get a Spectrobes 3 and a Fossil Fighters 2. You know, let's be honest here. If that happens, I think I'm eating pretty well. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but a Spectrobes 3 would make my year. Just saying. I'm just saying. And while I'm just saying, later. Bye. Bro, this franchise got jumped so hard. It's hard to look at, bro. I was looking at this thing like, dang. What did they do to make these franchises so mad at Dinosaur King? Because why were they dropping back-to-back dinosaur-related... Oh, it's crazy. Alright, I gotta go. Y'all be easy. Later.